Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Daily Triple, your no shit gaming news video. That's 3 news stories in one video with zero faff. Everyone loves a little bit of political correctness gone mad, especially when it's just ridiculous, and the madness only continues as time goes on. The indie developers behind the full-motion video game Attentat 1942 have not been allowed on the Google Store in some regions due to references to Nazis. Of course, no one likes Nazis because, you know, they're Nazis, but when your game is specifically about the Second World War, they're kind of an essential component. Developer Charles Games, part of Charles University in Prague, shared the situation on Twitter with screenshots of emails from the Google Play Store explaining why the game is banned in Germany, Austria, Russia, and France. Attentat 1942 is a game set during the Nazi occupation of Czechoslovakia with a mix of full-motion video cutscenes and graphic novel-style visuals. It tells the story of World War II from the perspectives of ordinary people who fight to survive under Nazi rule. The player assumes control of the grandchild of a man who was involved in the assassination of Nazi officer Reinhard Heydrich. Your grandfather is arrested by the Gestapo, and your job is to discover what really happened through investigating and eyewitness reports. Since the game is explicitly about Nazis, you'd think the game should be allowed to feature them in the game. They're not being glorified or praised because they're the bad guys. Again, they're Nazis. As well as being part of the Charles University, Attentat 1942 was also developed with the Czech Academy of Sciences, meaning that actual historians were involved. Charles Games appealed the restriction earlier this month, citing that the historical context of the game justifies the use of Nazis, but Google still rejected it. At the time of recording, the game is still unavailable on German, Russian, French, and Austrian Google Play stores. The game received fairly positive reviews, averaging a 75 on Metacritic for PC. Many outlets criticized the gameplay and the amount of control the player has, but heavily praised the mature narrative and handling of the delicate subject matter, which is exactly what you want to get right in something like this. The game is available on PC, Mac, and mobile devices, but of course only if you live outside of Germany, Russia, Austria, or France. Although it is also absent from the Google Store on my phone here in the UK, so make of that what you will. Since the game is available on Steam, it's clearly less of a problem with national laws and instead just Google's policy. There is a link in the description if you want to buy the game and support the developer, especially as revenue is being invested to continue research at the Czech Academy of Sciences. Now, this certainly isn't the first time this sort of thing has happened. Recently, Wolfenstein 2: The New Order had Hitler's character changed from the infamous mustache-wearing nutjob who demands to be called Führer to the clearly, definitely, absolutely not Hitler in any way, shape or form Kanzler, meaning Chancellor. Enough of this revisionist bullshit. There is only one true evil Chancellor. Before that, several other Wolfenstein games were outright banned or heavily censored to remove Nazi references, including all swastikas. Those bans have now been overturned, and rightly so hopefully Attentat 1942 can also be approved. Banning Nazi references in a game specifically about World War II is just stupid and flies in the face of history, especially with a game like this which isn't painting the Second World War as a string of glorious action set pieces, but instead as a harrowing and disturbing part of our history. These games aren't glorifying what the Nazis did, they're literally the bad guys, and your job, most of the time, is to kill them. If Google doesn't let this game on the store, the only other option for the developer is to censor the game, just like so many before it, by removing any swastikas and replacing the word Nazi with something more vague like the regime. A lot of German people are still very uncomfortable with their nation's history, and to be honest, I can't really blame you, but that still doesn't mean it should be censored. And next up, Ghost of Tsushima launched on Friday exclusively for the PS4 and has been another hit for Sony this generation. While receiving largely positive reviews from players and critics, the game has topped the UK physical sales charts, which I'm sure is a surprise to no one. Despite clearly not being quite as successful financially as The Last of Us Part 2, the game still sold well, especially for a brand new IP. Ghost of Tsushima sold 7% more than last year's Days Gone, another new open world IP from Sony. After playing for a few hours over the weekend, the game is definitely in a similar place to Days Gone in that they're both a little rough around the edges, but have a lot to love. I've not played loads of the game, so these are just early impressions, not a full review, so just bear that in mind. First up, Ghost's combat is absolutely sublime. The katana actually feels like a lethal weapon, and this seems to be what Jedi Fallen Order tried to do but ultimately failed in my mind. Fluidly bouncing between stances after one-shotting 3 guys in a row in a standoff is the samurai game I've been waiting years for. Despite solid voice acting in both English and Japanese, some of the dialogue sequences and cutscenes are very stilted in their animation, which is at odds with how absolutely stunning and stylish the rest of the world is. Rather than being a hyper-realistic recreation of 13th century Japan, the game is like walking through a fairy tale or a folk legend with every environment drenched in colour and style. For every bit of open world fluff, there's a cool homage to Japanese cinema to balance it all out. From quiet meditative haikus to brutally bloody sword fights, if you like samurai stuff, you'll definitely dig this one. Assassin's Creed wishes it was this good. Elsewhere in the charts, Paper Mario: The Origami King also launched on Friday for the Nintendo Switch. The adventure platform has reached number 2 in the charts and outsold the previous 2 Paper Mario titles combined, and narrowly became the fastest selling Paper Mario title to date. The Origami King currently sits at 81 on Metacritic, which is pretty good, but the user score is only 6.8. Nintendo are doing great altogether with 4 Switch exclusives in the charts to Sony's 2 and Microsoft's yeah, about that.
You got nothing! Nothing!
Codemasters' F1 2020 game fell from 1st to 3rd, Animal Crossing dropped from 2nd to 4th, and The Last of Us 2 went from 3rd to 5th. But somehow, GTA 5 is still in the charts. It's just obscene the amount of money that game makes, but to be honest, it's why I'm not surprised they haven't added any single player stuff. Why would they need to? They make so much money anyway. And finally, Geoff Keighley has been getting all handsy with the PS5 DualShock, no wait, hold on, that's not it, no wait, DualSense controller. Yep, totally different, totally a different thing. In a 20-minute video uploaded to the Game Awards YouTube channel, he spent 4 minutes talking about it, 4 minutes actually playing with the damn thing, and the rest chatting away to Senior Vice President of Marketing and Head of PlayStation Network, Eric Lampel. If you were looking for an insightful analysis or tech breakdown of what the all-new, all-white PS5 controller can offer, then look elsewhere, you're not going to find it here. Instead, Keighley's time with it reminded me more of an awkward dad ham-fistedly explaining the reproductive system with a model akin to Jim's dad in American Pie. They're both just saying things that neither really understands, hoping that you don't ask any more questions.
Hey, big boy. Hey, how you doing?
He explained how triggers offer different haptic feedback, meaning that terrains in games will feel different as the controller reacts to the game, and each pull of the trigger will feel slightly different. He described it as slightly heavier than the DualShock 4, but hefty, which only adds to my Jim's dad comparisons. At one point while playing Astro's Playroom, he was asked to, blow on the controller, which I'm sure was an innovative feature back before the world faced a pandemic and everyone started wearing masks full time. But even without the Foster's fever everywhere, I don't think I'll ever be comfortable being asked to blow on my controller. Altogether, nothing new was really learned, and the reveal, if you can really call it that, was very underwhelming, but it's a hands-on, and he had hands on it, so I guess it's not clickbait? Personally, I find it hard to watch someone explain how a controller feels when, in reality, I just need to feel it for myself, but not blow on it. I'll leave that to you guys.
Don't blow on me, son.
And that's it for today. If you enjoyed this no shit format, go ahead and give the video a like to give it a boost. Hit subscribe and the bell if you want to stay up to date on all future installments. Toss a coin to your YouTuber over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. That's all for today. I've been Henry Cooper. Bye for now.